And let's begin by telling you that Nigeria's Inspector General of Police Olukayode Egbetokun has withdrawn police officers attached to former Governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello. The order for the withdrawal was contained in a police wireless message. Now, Bello was declared wanted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on April 18th after his absence from the Federal High Court in Abuja stalled his arraignment. The Nigerian Immigration Service had earlier placed the former governor on its watch list after the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission declared him wanted in connection to an alleged case of money laundering to the tune of 80.2 billion naira. And now to discuss this further, I'm joined by lawyer and managing partner Bayo Sani & Co. Bayo Sani. Bayo, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for coming on. Let's just jump right into it and get started. How effective will the circular be in ensuring that the ex-governor do not leave the country?
Well, I think the circular is the right directive in these circumstances, because if you look at what has played out since this whole drama started, it has become very necessary for the agencies of government to work together in ensuring that the ex-governor, that's Governor Yahaya Bello, is taken before a court of competent jurisdiction to face the charges that have been filed against him. And we should look at also that what started all this. We can't look at Governor Yahaya Bello as just being a fugitive that is trying to be on the run for nothing. He claims to have obtained an order of court from the High Court of Kogi State that gave him, that gave an order against EFCC from arresting him. But there's a fundamental part in that order that says that he cannot be arrested until a warrant for arrest or charges have been filed against him in a competent court of jurisdiction. Now,
let's move on away from that and look at the no-flight circular, right? Now, when one look at it, they would think, or rather, for me, I'm going to use myself hypothetically here. When I look at it, it comes to mind, is this a final resort in ensuring that, the arraignment happens when it comes to Bello? Or do you think that more can be done or enough hasn't been done to ensure his arraignment?
Enough hasn't been done. Enough hasn't been done.
Why do you say so?
Thank you. Enough hasn't been done because there's a particular party that we are not focusing on here, and that is the Inspector General of Police. If you recall that the Inspector General of Police just gave an order for the withdrawal of the policemen attached to Governor Yahaya Bello, I believe that should have been done before the drama that played out at the Governor Yahaya Bello's house in Abuja on Tuesday or Wednesday. That should have been done. And if EFCC has now gone ahead to declare him wanted, and some police officers are still guarding him, where are these officers? Can they be tracked down? So I believe that enough has not been done at all. Enough has not been done. And we shouldn't be allowing this kind of scenario to play out in our administration of justice system. To the international community, it looks like, what are we really doing? It's still within this country. It's still within jurisdiction. Now, we are not saying Governor Yahaya Bello is guilty, all right? Because I want to understand and I want to appreciate his fundamental right that says that he is still innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. So that's not my point here. But of course, EFCC also, as an agency of government, has the power to arrest and ensure that whoever that has been alleged to have siphoned funds or abused power or in one way or the other should face the court of competent jurisdiction, should face these are charges there. So that is the issue.
Right. Let's. You talked about the court orders, right? What are your thoughts on how this story has unfolded? It's conflicting court orders. Permit me to use that adjective over the arrest of the Kogi former governor by the EFCC.
These orders are not conflicting. They are not conflicting. Okay. Most people have not read the order of the Kogi State High Court. That order, as far as I'm concerned, is not absolute. It gave a condition. So they didn't give him, there was no perpetual injunction given to restrain EFCC from arresting Yahaya Bello. They placed a condition on it, that there should be charges filed against him, or there should be warrant of arrest, which EFCC has done. Now, they filed these charges before a federal high court in Abuja. That's number one. And number two, they've also obtained warrant of arrest. So these orders are not conflicting. I don't think so.
So what could have been done differently on the part of the EFCC then?
You see, the challenge we have in this country is that agencies of government fail to work in concerted manner. They fail to, there's this lack of cooperation. You understand what I'm saying? I still don't want to ignore the fact that up till today, there were officers of the Nigerian police guarding Governor Yahaya Bello.
So you think they're not in sync? Is that what you're saying?
That is what I'm saying.
But if there was a court ruling that says that there shouldn't be any arrest until there's a warrant, then what now happens to the police? Would the police hold him down? Is that not in some way an arrest?
They won't hold him down. Look, there's a court order. Look, I said something now. The order of court is not a perpetual injunction. It's not a perpetual order. It's an interim order, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. It's not a perpetual order. And that order also, there's a condition attached to it. Okay, perhaps, because I also want to understand that if I look at the facts, if I get my facts right now, I want to understand the fact that EFCC went back to court to obtain this warrant after this order was given by the Kogi State High Court. They went back to the Federal High Court and they got their warrant from the Federal High Court. There are two courts here. Let us break it down for the purpose of those who are watching us. You understand? One order was given by the Kogi State High Court. Another warrant was obtained from another court, that's the Federal High Court. Now, when it comes to fundamental human rights, these courts are courts of competent jurisdiction. They are the same. You can either approach the Federal High Court or the State High Court based on the enforcement of fundamental rights rules. Okay? So, that's why Governor Yahaya Bello went to Kogi State High Court. Now, the intention of EFCC is to arraign Governor Yahaya Bello before the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja. All right? So, it's also right for EFCC to have gone back to the Federal High Court in Abuja to get that warrant from the Federal High Court in Abuja. So, perhaps, maybe there was also a flaw here when EFCC laid siege on his house before getting that warrant. I will fault EFCC for that. But if there was some form of coordination among the agencies of government, and when I'm talking about agencies of government, I'm talking about the law enforcement agencies here. I'm talking about DSS, I'm talking about Nigerian police, I'm talking about EFCC. EFCC also went to that place with police officers. There are policemen attached to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Don't let us forget that. Because some officers of EFCC don't bear arms. So if they are going on this kind of arrest, they must have gone with some policemen. You are going on arrest to arrest somebody that is guarded by police officers. I mean, there's a lacuna in our system. And I think after this situation, after this Yahaya Bello's matter comes to rest, we should look into that area to see how agencies of government can operate, together. And
be in tandem and
in a concerted manner, so that we don't sing discordant tunes here and there. I even read on the page of newspaper that they are considering going to the Nigerian Army. Nigerian Army has no business with that.
Bayo, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you for doing this with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for
Bayo Sani, their senior partner, managing partner at Bayo Sani & Co, talking to me about the latest when it comes to Yahaya's watch list, on the watch list for NIS. We'll move away from that now to the Nigerian Defense Headquarters. Now we know that on Friday they have finally released the OV of Iwo Urobo Kingdom, Clement Ogenerukewe Ikulu. The monarch, who had been detained by the military, was released by the senator representing Delta Central in the National Assembly, Senator Ede Dafinon, at the military headquarters. He was declared wanted by the military following the killing of 17 soldiers by unknown gunmen around Ukwama community in Ugeli South local government area of Delta State. In the meantime, let's move away from that now and talk motivation and the spirit of sportsmanship as well as teamwork. Now, these qualities have been described as major attributes that can only sustain troops in the course of their career. Now, this was made known by the General Officer commanding 3 Division of the Maxwell Khobe Cantonment, and that's Major General Abdulsalam Abubakar, at the closing ceremony of the 2024 Inter-Brigade Corporal and Below competition. Chizoba Anionwe tells us more.
is an annual event among the Nigerian Army formations under the coverage of 3 Division Maxwell Khobe Cantonment, which includes 6 Brigade Jalingo, 23 Brigade Yola, 33 Artillery Brigade Bauchi, 43 Engineer Brigade, 53 Signals Brigade, and the host formation, 3 Division Garrison. It was last held in Gibson Jalo Cantonment, Yola, the Adamawa State capital, in 2023. The competition is one of the major means of bringing troops up to standard in their requirements for efficiency in service delivery, especially now that insurgency seems to have become the order of the day in many parts of the country.
As you are all aware, the level of insecurity in the country requires constant training of our personnel to enable us to secure the lives and property of our law-abiding citizens. It is for this reason that training forms the crux of the Chief of Army Staff's command philosophy, which is to have a well-trained, equipped, and highly motivated force in the discharge of our constitutional roles within a joint environment.
Troops were urged to always uphold the essence of the exercise for improved job delivery.
Even though this is a competition, the lessons learned will go a long way in improving the professionalism and competence of our personnel. I have witnessed with delight where you supported your colleagues who felt that they are putting all and they could not go further. This spirit of teamwork and leadership that you displayed is one of the aims of this training.
3 Division Garrison emerged winner of the competition. 6 Brigade Jalingo came second, while 43 Engineer Brigade took the 3rd position.
Now, with this physical training over and done with here on the plateau, it is expected that these soldiers go back to their various formations across the country where they have come from and step down, putting into practice what they have learned here today. From the 3 Division Physical Training Ground, Maxwell Khobe Cantonment, Chizoba Anionwe, reporting for News Central.
You're watching News Central TV, and this is News Now. We'll take a short break. Stay with us, don't go anywhere. You're watching News Now. News Central Television held a town hall meeting with those affected by the recent Dosumu fire incident to hear firsthand what the present situation is. You recall that fire razed some high-rise buildings in the market earlier in the month. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu ordered the closure of the fire-ravaged Dosumu market pending when the structures around the market are declared safe for all. Residents of Jos, the Plateau State capital, north-central Nigeria, are facing a frustrating week-long fuel shortage. There's no immediate end in sight, causing major disruptions for citizens and businesses. Our correspondent Chizoba Anionwe reports long queues at the few gas stations still operating. Motorists have little choice but to wait as most stations have run dry. Now, the scarcity has significantly impacted daily life, with businesses and vehicle traffic grinding to a near halt due to the lack of fuel. The fuel shortage in Jos is causing significant hardship. The shortage has affected businesses and other vehicular activities, leaving the streets virtually empty. One of the managers at the fuel station spoke on the development. And joining us to give us more update is News Center's correspondent Chizoba Anionwe. Hello, Chizoba. Let's get started. First of all, how is Jos today? I'm certain that the situation hasn't changed, but tell me, what can you tell us about the situation currently on ground? Chizoba, can you hear me now?
I hear you.
All right. I was asking earlier about the situation at the moment in Plateau State, and that's in Jos. Chizoba, are you there? We'll try to bring you that package when we reconnect with Chizoba. But now to politics. In the southwest of Nigeria, The female aspirant in the Saturday direct primary election of the All Progressives Congress APC in Ondo State, and that's Fumilayo Waheed Adekoju, has called on delegates of the party to ignore zoning and vote for her. Political arrangements in Ondo State had always support zoning since the return of democracy to the country in 1999. But Waheed Adekoju is of the view that zoning would not bring about competence and capacity in which she stood for. The female aspirant stated this during a press conference in Akure, the Ondo State capital, on Friday. The certified engineer then urged the leadership of the APC in Abuja to support her being a female and loyal member of the party.
I've always been of the opinion that the governorship ticket should not be given as compensation based on our arbitrary zoning arrangement, but on an assurance of the capacity of the candidate to provide visionary and inclusive governance that will help in wealth creation, agricultural, rural, and human development capital. If I'm elected as your party flag bearer in those states, with my vast knowledge and experience in engineering, management, entrepreneurship, and procurement, I will announce the deep sea port to bring significant employment, acquisition of new skills by the labor force, increase internally generated revenues, massive infrastructural development, and complementing the free trade zone in facilitating the transit of goods and equipment in and out of Ondo State.
From every angle, you know that any one of the aspirants, they are well competent and qualified to lead the state. So none of them is not qualified, and that is why the screening committee clear all of them. So, and I know that whoever that picked the ticket and also face the whoever that speak by PDP, they will do well for the state.
We want to go that will do us proud in this state, that will bring the circle of governance to everybody. If it's the person choosing, fine. You know, it's an APC affair, and this is a family affair. They know themselves. They know the degree, the powers, the characteristics of everyone. So if the APC are going out tomorrow to vote, maybe they have been voting, maybe they are going out to vote, they know they are insiders, they know everybody. So if they think he's the one capable, fine. If they think he's not capable, they vote him out. But this is politics. One person must win. Others.
Still on party politics, the National Executive Committee of the People's Democratic Party has tasked party faithful to unite and work towards the success of the party for the benefit of Nigerians. Now, members of the NAC, while acknowledging the rift among aggrieved members, which has been acted as a setback to the party, say there is a need to put past grievances aside. Idong Joseph reports.
The much-awaited National Executive Council meeting of Nigeria's People's Democratic Party has just been concluded in Abuja. While it was hoped that the meeting will address the leadership crisis that has rocked the party since the party's primary election, the issue was not given relevance as key stakeholders called for efforts to unite the party.
It is imperative that we set aside personal differences and work together in the spirit of fraternity and solidarity to find common ground.
There's also need to constitute a reconciliation committee to unite our aggrieved members, especially those that fell out during the last primaries and also election. It is better late than never.
After a closed-door session which lasted about 30 minutes, with all 353 members present, the party approved the constitution of a reconciliation committee to help ensure the stability of the party. It also approved the date for conducting congresses nationwide.
The timetable for primaries and schedule of activities between the months of June and August 2024. The NEC approved the reconstitution of the disciplinary and reconciliation committees of the party.
The NEC also urged the current government to find lasting solutions to the insecurity challenges and address the escalating hardship on citizens.
Next, after due consideration, demand that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should urgently convene a special National Security Council meeting to provide a holistic solution and measures to curb the disturbing insecurity. Next, further demands that the federal government should review all policies and programs which are stifling the economy and suffocating effect on the lives of citizens.
The 98th National Executive Council meeting was attended by two former Vice Presidents of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar and Namadi Sambo, present and past governors of the party, and principal officers of the National Assembly, among others. It is hoped that the outcome of this meeting positions the party as a much-needed viable opposition in future. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idonk Joseph.
Earlier, we told you about the fuel scarcity and the queues in Jos, or rather in Plateau, Jos capital there. And we also said that we're going to bring our correspondent to speak with us on and tell us the situation there. Chizoba, are you back?
Yes, I am.
All right, there. So that's our correspondent live at Jos, Plateau State, Chizoba Anionwe. Chizoba, what can you tell us about the situation in the city?
First of all, welcome to Jos City, the capital of Plateau State, North Central Nigeria. Over the days, for some 1-2 weeks now, actually, there has been scarcity of fuel, petrol, especially in fuel stations, where motorists especially have been crying out that this has not happened in a long while, especially when there's been increase in prices of this same product. So they are worried that they still buy at a very high rate. And then at a time like this, they don't even see the product to buy. So many fuel stations do not have the product actually, just a few of them, just like the one you can see right there. And there are long queues. That's the worry of so many of these motorists, you know. So when they have the money, which we know that the economy isn't smiling, like some people would say, the economy is so harsh on people. The weather too, in fact, from 2 weeks back, we had a report that this is the harshest weather on the plateau in the past 20 years. So imagine this situation, the cash out situation too, and then the major products people need is not available, even with a high price too. So that is the situation of petrol products in the city of Jos.
I can only imagine what it's like there and the hardship. I mean, living in Lagos, which is the commercial capital, it's had to grapple with talk more any part of the country. But what are the authorities saying about the scarcity?
From what I have gathered so far, unfortunately, authorities in this field have nothing to say. In fact, they are not even around. I've tried to put calls through to some of them, and they either tell me they are not around to speak to me, or that they'll call me on a later date, and I've up until now gotten any opportunity to speak with them. But a few of the people I have interviewed while on the queue are saying that government and everybody involved in this should do anything they can possible so that these products will be available for people. It is also crippling certain businesses that depend on electricity or energy from petrol and all those things to work. And so it still boils down to say that the economy, it's getting more harsh on the people, especially here on the plateau, because if they cannot even do their businesses because of lack of this product, and then the economy is also harsh, there's no money anywhere, what do? So what they are crying out is that government and people in various authorities that have to do with this should come to their aid, actually.
Chizoba, many thanks for coming on. We appreciate you for doing this with us. That's our correspondent live at Jos, the capital of Plateau State, reporting on the long queues and fuel scarcity in the state. Let's turn our focus now to Lagos, the popular attraction and tourist destination in the city, the economic nerve center of Nigeria. And that tourist site is Landmark Beach, and it's facing a controversial dredging project to make way for a new coastal road. The Lagos State Ministry of Waterfront Infrastructure Development has begun dredging activities, sparking concerns from residents and business owners. News Central's Chidinma Ona has more details in this report.
The ongoing dredging of the landmark beach in Lagos is still raising concerns as affected people fear that this project will lead to a devastating turn for them and the economy. The governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Lagos State in the 2023 general elections, Gbadebo Road Survivor, who was at the beach, spoke on the effects of this current project.
The real danger to loss of jobs and loss to a very important tourist destination that sees over 3.5 million visitors, a destination that was set up as far back as 2007 and has generated so much revenue that they pay taxes to the state over ₦1 billion a year.
The thought of it alone, it's actually giving me pains and trauma because I don't know where to begin from. The certificate, I didn't even know where to source for a job. This has been a home for many, especially I. And if this should happen, maybe only God knows, but it's going to be a disaster.
I'm very shocked. Even coming back this morning after the whole trauma and all that. I'm seeing this happening. So already, I'm sick. And it's really not nice anymore because how will I feed? I'm showing my program in school now. Because I'm running my master's program. How do I feed? This is where I get my money. This is where I come for my daily bread.
The Lagos State government maintains that the coastal road, a federal government project currently in the works, is necessary to improve traffic flow and alleviate congestion in the city. But others urge the government to stick to its original plan.
There's an original plan that has this 1.5 kilometer of road actually going on the Water Corporation that will preserve all of this for the people of Lagos. That's what we are saying. It's not about the timing of its implementation. It's about staying true to the original plan with which the people that developed all of this bought the land, understanding that that was supposed to be the West African Coastal Road. That's where any kind of road network that's being built will be, as opposed to investing all of this money only for someone to just come and sand fill all the water and say coastal road is going to be here, when their initial plan was that it was going to be on Water Corporation Road.
Critics have continued to raise alarm on the disruption of seabeds and the delicate coastal ecosystem, among other concerns, but it appears there is no going back on this project, estimated at about 15 trillion naira to be completed within 8 years.
And the news continues in East Africa, where Uganda is set to host the annual Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo under the theme Responsible Tourism, which aims to put a spotlight on Uganda's tourism. The Tourism Expo is set to bring business to local businesses and also provide a platform for learning and networking. The Expo will get to show off the beauty of Uganda on a more global stage. And now to discuss this, I'm joined by the CEO, Uganda Tourism Board, Kampala, Uganda, and that's Lily Ajarova. Lily, it's good to have you join me here today all the way from Kampala. Uganda will be setting or hosting the annual Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo soon. Please tell us what this event is all about.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to engage with you right now. Uganda will be hosting the 8th edition of the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo, which brings together a range of different tourism and travel players across the globe to get together and engage and do business, but also we get to have experts who share in the details of the trends that are ongoing in the tourism and travel sector. And we get to have some of the internationals who are coming in to explore Uganda and get to see the beauty of Uganda. Uganda is known as the Pearl of Africa, so they get to really have a first-hand experience exploring the food, exploring the wildlife, the landscape, and everything, the culture that we have. So this is a great opportunity for anybody in the tourism sector to come and do business with Uganda, not only with Uganda, because we are having players from all over the world coming around. So people of Uganda will be doing business with everyone else. So we are very excited to be hosting this. And a special thing about this expo is that Powate 2024 has the theme of responsible tourism. Uganda is trying to position herself as a sustainable tourism destination. So we also want to learn from the rest of the destination, but also from the rest of the destinations to learn from us how to manage a responsible tourism and to have a sustainable destination.
Right. Mind me asking, how would this event boost the country's economy?
First, we will be having hosted buyers coming from around the world, and we will also be having media from around the world coming into Uganda. So we will have PR value on Uganda as the host, and then the hosted buyers coming in will tour Uganda, get to know what Uganda has to offer. And during the expo, we hope that they will be able to sign contracts of bringing in travelers from all over the world to Uganda, since they would have known what Uganda has to offer. So there will be the economic value, there will be the social value, as the value chain of tourism involves also the local communities. So whatever the places where these people will be visiting, the community will have direct benefit of selling some of their produce. And yeah.
Right. Lily, many thanks for coming on, and I wish I was going to be there. I wish I would be attending, but unfortunately I will not be. But I look forward to more details on the event when it happens. But Lily, many thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much. We'll live stream, so we hope that you can still virtually join us.
I will be sure to do that. And that's Lily Ajorova there. She's the CEO, Uganda Tourism Board, Kampala. Move away from that now to Kenya, as Kenya has begun 3 days of mourning after its defense chief and 9 other senior military officers were killed in a helicopter crash. The latest accident to blight the nation's military. The tragic accident that claimed the life of the general, and that's General Francis Umudin Ugala, occurred Thursday afternoon in a remote northwestern region. Speaking on the tragic loss, President William Ruto said the nation will observe 3 days of mourning with the national flag flying at half-mast, throughout the country and at Kenyan embassies abroad as a tribute to the fallen military personnel. Ugala and his fellow officers were reportedly on a security mission when the helicopter went down shortly after takeoff. The bodies of the victims, draped in Kenyan flags, were soberly received at a military base in Nairobi, returning home with honor and respect. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has refused to comment on reports of an attack by Israel on Iran, beyond saying Washington was not involved in any offensive operation. Speaking to journalists after a meeting with G7 counterparts in Italy, Blinken declined to answer repeated questions about explosions in Iran and reports that Israel had carried out retaliatory strikes. Speaking to reporters earlier, G7 host, the foreign minister of Italy, Antonio Tacchini, said Washington had been informed in advance of the strikes without giving details. For more on this, I'm joined by our international correspondent, Afia Hagen. Afia, what has been the reaction from inside Iran to this attack?
Well, Iran state media are playing down this attack, and everybody's kind of playing the strategic positions, as it were, and playing down the severity. So Iran's state broadcaster RIRB posted a video on Telegram of one of its reporters standing on top of a building in the center of the city, Isfahan. Now, Isfahan is important because it has a nuclear technology center there. and it has a lot of weapons bases as well. So it's a really important city. And of course, we know that Israel was talking about potentially hitting Iran's nuclear, the place where they keep nuclear arms, as it were. Isfahan would be the place. But they have downplayed it. And they have said, that everything is safe, that the city seems to be getting on as normal. Now, a semi-official news agency in Iran, which is close to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, posted a video saying Isfahan's nuclear site is completely safe. And in that footage, you see a man checking his watch, verifying the date and time, and then zooming in on the entrance to the nuclear base, which seems completely safe and completely fine. So Iran trying to downplay this attack and saying that any drones that were over Iran airspace that caused those explosions were very small.
And then what has been the international reaction then to the explosions inside Iran, thought to be perpetrated by Israel?
Well, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, a very sticky press conference that I watched earlier on, where he's at the G7 summit of foreign leaders, refused to be drawn on what has happened overnight in Iran, refused to really answer any questions. He basically said that the US and the G7 have been focused on the work to de-escalate tensions and any potential conflict. But two US broadcasters, NBC and CNN, reported that officials said that Israel gave Washington advanced warning. And an official was quoted by CNN as saying, "We don't endorse the response." Now, the White House and the Pentagon are still yet to issue any comment on this reported strike, which, like we said, Iran says only amounts to a few drones. Now, China has said it opposes anything that further escalates tensions. The UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak says that Israel has a right to defend itself and added, "We've been stressing to Israelis that no matter what happens, now is the time for de-escalation." And that is a common theme across the board. People are saying that now is the time for de-escalation, that perhaps this is the moment when both Iran and Israel should draw a line over these attacks on each other.
I mean, it begs to ask the question, what next, especially for Israel? Could we see another attack?
And that's the question that everybody wants to answer today. What is happening next? Now, I think, from what we've seen and what has been reported so far, that actually this could be it in this particular part of this conflict. But remember, today is a holy day in Iran. That's probably why we haven't had too much response from them. And Passover is coming in the Jewish calendar as well, starts on April 22nd. And previously this week, we'd heard that Israel weren't going to propose any sort of retaliation until after Passover, but it seems that they did otherwise. If this is Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's attempt to respond, it has been called lame by Iran, but Israel have been encouraged to take the win. Last weekend, when Iran did fire rockets and missiles towards Israel, 99%, about 300 of those projectiles were thwarted by the Iron Dome Defense Force. And President Biden has been urging Israel to take the win, as it were, to say, look, you defended yourself really well against this attack from Israel. Perhaps now is the time to draw a line under this. And that would absolutely be the best option for this region. And that's what a lot of governments are saying, that this is the time for de-escalation. But remember that Iran and Israel have had tensions for years and for a long time. They kind of had this clandestine backdoor war, which both of them would deny, but attacks were happening all the time. Now, people don't want to see a return to that. So it could be that both sides have done everything they feel they need to do and could draw a line under this particular stage in this conflict in the Middle East, but that remains to be seen.
Afia, many thanks for doing this with us. That's Afia Hagen there. She is our international correspondent, giving us more update on the Israel-Iran retaliation attacks. Move away from that now. And now to sports. In this time, Nigeria's sports minister, Senator John Eno, reaffirms the nation's readiness for the Paris 2024 Olympics, aiming to replicate the gold medal success of Atlanta 1996. With a focus on strategic planning and execution, the ministry has established a ministerial podium, a performance committee to assess sports where Nigeria holds a competitive edge. Collaborating with the Nigerian Olympic Committee and sports federations, comprehensive training programs and training camps are being organized locally and internationally. The minister highlights a collective effort of stakeholders and the synergy between the ministry, NOC, and federations. As preparations escalate, Nigeria is poised to demonstrate its athletic prowess at the global stage, aiming for sporting excellence and a memorable performance at the Paris 2024 Olympics, scheduled from July 26th to August 11th. And that's all we can take at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Inspector General of Police has withdrawn policemen attached to Kogi ex-governor Yahaya Bello. Nigeria Defense Headquarters has released Delta monarch detained over Okwama killings. And we also told you that Kenya has declared 3-day national mourning for army personnel who died in helicopter crash. Now remember that you can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. And do follow us on social media. We're at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Judith at TV.